From Under the Rock, essential mindset number 18. Rather than doing as little as possible, I will do as much as necessary to recover. Essential mindset number 19. I will find my inspiration for recovery and connect with it daily. The true story of Aron Ralston's near-death experience in a canyoneering accident was vividly portrayed in the Academy Award-nominated film 127 Hours. The movie depicted Aron's outdoor adventure, which came to a halt when his fall into a steep crevice loosened a massive rock. As he and the rock fell, it tumbled onto his arm, pinning him down. The account of Aron's struggle to free himself provides a fitting metaphor for recovery from sexual addiction. Just as Aron was pinned under an 800-pound boulder, sexual addicts find themselves trapped under the weight of an immobilizing force. Dang, there's birds out here. It's 30-something degrees walking out here. It's cold, man. And adapting to the cold with deadly consequences in the balance. How does someone conjure up the necessary strength, endurance, and fighting passion to escape? This question is essential as sexual addicts begin the healing journey. Beginning efforts. In the film, when Aron found himself trapped, he turned his efforts toward dislodging the rock. He tried to chip at it with his knife, angrily pushed against it, and even constructed a pulley system as another creative attempt. Similar to the addict, who implements whichever tricks he can to outsmart his drive to seek out unhealthy sexual experiences, these efforts led only to frustration. So often, the recovery process begins with the addict doing as little as possible, rather than as much as necessary. Rather than running to health, they cautiously crawl away from their sickness, seemingly as slowly as possible. The denial that drives that mentality gradually diminishes with the increasing recognition that the rock of addiction is not budging. As described in the Big Book of AA, half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. Lots of water out here. The sexual addict, the snow is melted. The sexual addict has many challenging experiences under their rock. Feeling stuck, unsure of the possibility of escape, can lead to an array of uncomfortable emotions, such as anger, despair, loneliness, sadness, helplessness, and hopelessness. If this were a scraped knee, the remedy would be obvious and simple. But the circumstances a sexual addict sits in has a hidden and complex solution. The way to freedom from this trap is mysterious and frightening. When faced with seemingly insurmountable odds, Aron gradually realized that his pathway to freedom would be agonizing, requiring the amputation of his arm. The sexual addict faces a similar dilemma. In successful recovery, they must submit to the painful removal of a significant part of them. Though it may be difficult for some to understand, a sexual addiction has emotional value. In fact, for many it has served as a long-term source of comfort, enjoyment, and escape. Though the consequences of this pattern are destructive, the sexual addiction has served a purpose, providing a coping mechanism throughout life's trials. So, saying goodbye to the addiction is essentially severing a close relationship. I feel it. I feel that vibe. I feel that vibe for sure. His words are definitely true, but I want to sever that. Cut that completely out. New life, new creation. The way I was supposed to be. The true way that God designed me to be in this life. In this existence. making necessary cuts. Watching Aaron begin to slice his arm was excruciating. Skin, muscle, bone, nothing escaped his dull army knife blade. Everything separating Aaron from his freedom was removed. Similarly, recovering from a sexual addiction requires many uncomfortable cuts. These choices may include personal stretching, such as walking into treatment, disclosing secret and shame-inducing behaviors, acknowledging consequences. So I want to reread. What did he just say? Watching Aaron begin to slice his arm was excruciating. Skin, muscle, bone, nothing escaped his dull army knife blade. Man, fucking cut. Sorry, I'm cussing. Cutting your own bone. Oh my God. See, that's how painful this is. A perfect analogy, huh? Varying behavioral changes may be necessary, such as implementing tools for resisting temptation, choosing to limit access to certain conveniences, entertainment, or situations, practicing new self-care habits. Challenges of relational growth will likely be required, such as learning to be honest, vulnerable, and self-compassionate, learning how to emotionally connect with others, learning how to create safety for a traumatized partner, accepting help and care from others, growing in relationship with a higher power. Emotional challenges can be expected, such as learning how to acknowledge, access, express, and care for emotions rather than numbing them. Oh man. Looking at underlying issues resulting from painful past losses or traumas. Enduring the slowness of the entire process. The recovery experience is not identical for everyone. What will be consistent is the requirement of great sacrifice. The frightening path ahead. Intimidating, isn't it? One might wonder if recovery from sexual addiction is such a massive and life-altering experience, why submit to the process? Aaron's ultimatum of life versus death was clearer than the choices a sexual addict faces. Is it, though? Is it really, though? Certainly, there is the choice to seek help or remain hidden in the comfort of the shadows, in the companionship of pain and shame. It is a draining, enslaving existence. Still, it's what the addict knows, and often the fear of walking into the light, uncertain of the responses of others, and terrified of facing their inner emotional turmoil, burdens addicts like a ball and chain. Under the addict's rock, they are suffering as they experience deterioration of their relationships, selves, and souls. The prospect of escape is hopeful in theory, but actually choosing that path takes a tremendous amount of courage and motivation. Awakening passion. Aaron was ready to die under the rock until he found deeper inspiration. His fighting passion was finally stirred by a powerful love. In what seemed like his last hours, he saw a vision of his future son. In the film, as Aaron watched himself playing with this yet unborn boy, he smiled, tears filling his eyes. This potent experience awakened in Aaron a hope, determination, and fervor that was previously absent. Not Aaron, just Aaron, all right? As Aaron undertook his own amputation, there was no doubt that he believed there was more to his life than dying under that rock. He found his reason to fight. The sexual addict must conjure up an intense passion for freedom, for healing to occur. They must determine their why. This means finding reasons that stir in them a compelling desire to leap from their realm of comfort, embracing the possibility of a better life. This can start with looking through images of their partner, their children, or their heroes, and may include envisioning a yet unfulfilled dream or pondering values that inspire them. That reason plays a foundational role. The key to Aaron's freedom was found in the visualization of the beautiful life to come. More so, the love for his future son was a force that was previously untapped. And it was that greater power that energized him to do the seemingly impossible. Daily inspiration. There are many strategies a sexual addict can utilize to devise their necessary daily inspiration. So I'm going to tell you guys, while I was just reading that, I had the kind of vision of that earlier today, and it brought tears to my eyes because I never had that type of vision before. But I had a vision of basically having a family, basically not of specifically a son or a daughter, but just having a family and connecting with my family and having Christmas and Thanksgiving and all the holidays and birthdays spent with me and my family, with my current family that we meet up for those holidays. But then I have my own family too that I bring. I just had that type of feeling, a vision, and I never had that before. So I'm really loving this type of journey, man, connecting with others and living not so much disconnected and lonely, but really engaged and connected with everything and all this life and with people. And God, it's just so much better. It's kind of scary, but exciting too, man. Anyway, there are many strategies a sexual addict can utilize to devise their necessary daily inspiration. The following strategies may be helpful for sexual addicts to use at set times of the day and when undergoing moment-to-moment temptations or challenges. Reading a paragraph from a book, a quote, a scripture passage, a letter written to themselves, or their list of motivating reasons to be free. All those are great. That's why I love to read those 7 Psalms, and that's what I'm going to do after this. I love those Psalms and just inspire me for a better life. I almost need them. They're the bread of life. That's the real food that I need. That's what I really feel. Listening to a specific song or playlist that grounds them in their spiritual beliefs, feelings of closeness to family, their true identity, a future vision, and an uncompromising attitude. That's why I love that song Unbreakable. It reminds me of family. Megan knows that song. Just being unbreakable, baby. God, I want to dream again. Take me where I've never been. Love it, man. Love it. Watching movie clips, and also love my inspiration. Watching movie clips that arouse motivating values and a fighting mentality. Praying, meditating to foster feelings of connection with a higher power and a sense of greater purpose. Holding symbols of recovery. What could be a symbol of recovery? I don't know if you watched or watching this, anybody, but what could be a symbol of recovery? Oh man. What would be an epic symbol of recovery? All I can think of is the cross. That's all I can think of, dude. Crucifying the flesh. That's all I can think of, dude. I don't know what you can think of. Another excellent way to tap into that greater power and motivation is through the connection with others who are fighting similar battles, whether through groups, retreats, or other experiences. That's why it's great to talk with you guys, the Porn Reboot group in the system, because nowhere else do I know where people are openly confessing it. I kind of want to start, if I can have the balls to say that. But definitely I want to come from a place of overcoming when I say it to people openly. I'm not going to just bust out saying it, but until I can say it from a place of authority of actually overcoming it for multiple years. So that's where I feel. But there is something deeply motivating about spending time within a culture or community of others committed to recovery. Powerful too is the experience of making phone calls to tap into the strength of another, connect emotionally, and mutually encourage one another. When a person in recovery practices whatever infuses them with the power they need to fight for their freedom, the recovery process is made visible at a level never before witnessed. The Hope of Freedom. In his book, Between a Rock and a Hard Place, Aron Ralston described the most powerful experience of his life. The instant he and his arm abruptly parted company, he wrote, "A crystalline moment shatters, and the world is a different place. Where there was confinement, now there is release. Recoiling from my sudden liberation, my left arm flings down canyon, opening my shoulders to the south, and I fall back against the northern wall of the canyon. My mind is surfing on euphoria. My mind is surfing on euphoria. As I stare at the wall," I love that phrase, "my mind is surfing on euphoria." That is an epic description. Wow. Have you heard anyone say that before? My mind is surfing on euphoria, baby. I want to say that more often. How you doing? Bro, my mind is surfing on euphoria. Oh man, it's great. As I stare at the wall where not 12 hours ago I etched R.I.P. October 75th, Aron, April 3rd, a voice shouts in my head, "I am free!" In recovery, the same opportunity presents itself. Just as Aron traded his arm for his new life, recovery means trading the old for the new, losing much, gaining more. The movie ended informing the audience that Aron's vision became his reality. He was married and had a son. Then, real images of Aron living his life flashed across the screen. Alive, well loved, armless. If you asked Aron if his current life was worth sacrificing a significant part of him, I believe he would emphatically say it was. Certainly, his son would agree. It is an honorable step of courage to seek treatment for a sexual addiction. Sadly, there are too many who resort to living a life as a victim to their addiction, holding tightly to the only life they know, however desolate and lonely it may be under their rock. When someone seeks help, they are no longer isolated as they pursue the new life of recovery. They are met with a host of helpers who can gently guide them through the painful process, providing many resources and much support to help them take the necessary steps. Life awaits. May we all on this journey to wholeness be willing to fight with determination the battles before us, however fear-inducing and difficult they may be, knowing that something better awaits us on the other side. There will be times when relapse seems like saving grace. But there will be times when relapse seems like saving grace. I got you. I totally got you in that. Oh, no, this is the only thing that's going to make me freaking feel better. This is the only thing. Oh, I have to do this. I feel bad now. I have to do this. This is the only thing that's going to make me feel better about this life. I felt that way. I don't know why, but I'll admit and confess I felt that way. Oh man, I just feel I want to kill myself. I don't want to live anymore. This is the only thing. Why this is better than killing myself, isn't it? Fuck it. Just fuck everything. Fuck everything about this life. I don't want to deal with any of this shit. All this bullshit, all that I've created. I got to take more responsibility for my life, and just instead of blaming, all this, but it's I got to take responsibility. I'd be more rational. But I'm just saying that I felt that way before and had those types of thoughts. I shouldn't have engaged them as fully and pondered them more and just got more deep in there as I just did. But I'm just saying I thought those that way before. And I don't want to anymore. I got to be adult and mature. And so I'm just saying, I've thought those thoughts before, and that's why I acted in ways that I'm shameful of. I'm ashamed that I did those things. So I don't want to do those things anymore. I want this new life. So may we all on this journey to wholeness be willing to fight with determination the battles before us, however fear-inducing and difficult they may be, knowing that something better awaits us on the other side. There will be times when relapse seems like saving grace. Yep. But we must realize that in those moments of discomfort, there is relief for those who reach out and push through. There is. It's so true. I've already felt that experience just a few times, just talking about, I think when I first started talking with Swan. Okay, do some deep breathing out here, man. So, but it's so true. Especially for our emotions, there's something that we got to tap into in those emotions instead of acting out and find a way to care for them. And as he said earlier in the chapter, this right here, learning how to acknowledge, access, express, and care for emotions rather than numbing them. Highlight that. That's what we need to do. While holding symbols of recovery. I need to get a symbol of recovery. In light of Aaron's endeavor and the one before us, may we remember that many have gone through this life-altering surgery, separating themselves from the spouse of their greatest suffering. The source, not the spouse. Separating themselves from the source of their greatest recovery. Not recovery. Man, I can't the source of their greatest suffering. Oh man, in light of Aaron's endeavor and the one before us, may we remember that many have gone through this life-altering surgery, separating themselves from the source of their greatest suffering. They did the difficult work of laying to rest that which was most familiar. Looking ahead, they ventured up and out of their dark canyon, climbing into the hopeful light of a new life. Remembering those who have ascended out of sexual addiction, may we daily seek and summon our strength and support, that we may one day join those who decisively declare, I am free. Yes. Agreed. Amen. Are you with me? Say it. Say it with me. Amen.